Stakeholders are the most important group of people that are involved in a project. These guys are part of the organization, they represent the organization, and they also determine the success or failure of a project. So this is really important for project managers to understand. So when a project manager goes into an organization to do a project, the first thing they'll like to do is really evaluate and understand the environment of the organization, the cultural environment, the political environment, really understand how these different groups of stakeholders interact with each other, how do they overlap each other, because the project managers have to work with these stakeholders, and these stakeholders determine whether a project is a success or failure. In the past, there was a concept called triple constraint, which was sort of like the guiding scale for figuring out whether a project is a success or failure, which is simply, where we were looking at our schedule, our budget, and scope creation. And if a project landed on all those three points, right? If the project was on schedule, if it was, within budget, and, it created the right product with the right scope, then we used to call these projects as a success. But that has changed with time. Now stakeholders determine if a project is a success or failure. So satisfying these stakeholders, fulfilling their requirements, and making sure that we are creating the right product, the right deliverable with the right requirements is critical, an absolute must to have a successful project. So project managers need to manage these stakeholders effectively, understand their concerns, answer their doubts, and really figure out, what they think of a project, how to engage them in a project. So the way project managers do this is by communicating. So 90% of a project manager's job is communication. We're talking to people all the time, having discussions with our team members, having discussions with the vendors, having discussions with the end users. The most of our time, the majority for communication is done with the stakeholders. So stakeholders are a very important group that needs to be engaged in a project. That's what we're trying to do through the communication. We are trying to get them to engage in our project. Because remember, we are taking their help now. They are becoming part of our project work. They are running a lot of different activities for us in our projects. They are assigned as owners to certain risks. They're responsible for addressing those risks. So they work with us now in our projects, and they also determine whether the project is a success or failure. So getting these people involved and engaged in our projects and really understanding their concerns about the project, about the product, building the right product with the right requirements, these are all goals that we must fulfill as project managers. We will have two groups of stakeholders, supportive as well as the unsupportive stakeholders. Now our plan through the different strategies we create for these stakeholders, through the communication we do with these stakeholders, is really to convert these unsupportive stakeholders to becoming supportive of the project, right? We want them to be on our side, not against us. So we'll try to work with them. We'll try to understand, why they are unhappy with the project, why they don't like the project, for what reasons are they against the project, and really clear those doubts and help them really understand how this project is going to benefit them, benefit the organization, how it's going to make their job easy. So really, just making all types of effort to get them on our side, to make them supportive stakeholders. Now, the best of our stakeholders, or the most supportive of our stakeholders, is our sponsor, right? Sponsor is the one who initiates the project and brings the role of a project manager to existence. Sponsors are the best supportive stakeholders. So we like to take help from the sponsors whenever we can. Especially when we are dealing with these unsupportive stakeholders, we like to bring in the sponsor to some of those meetings and really help drive the conversation and see how we can possibly make them as the supportive stakeholders. So sponsors do help us a lot in our projects, and project managers definitely want to take their help in the projects. Let's now discuss in more detail about the different responsibilities that are being carried out by the project manager, by the teams and the stakeholders, some of the tasks that they're doing, some of the specific activities they are responsible for. and then understand who is ultimately responsible for the project itself, for the end result of the project.